your workflow wasn't missing that product before they sent it to you.
I plugged the mic in, flipped a couple switches and started rhyming. It wasn't right then, but I kept writing, knowing I had to put the time in to earn my stipend. Do your guy a solid one time, subscribe and like this.
So, as y'all probably know, I watch a lot of YouTube gear reviews. I really get into this space because like I really love the technical side of this. Like I've said a few times before, I have almost as much fun building and evolving my studio and my recording equipment and my workflow and everything as I do actually making music. Almost. But anyways, right through just my journeys and researching gear that I'm looking to buy, as you can probably imagine, I stumble across a lot of people doing gear reviews. Some I find a lot more interesting than others. A particular type, though, seems to have very little value in that regard when you really think about it, though. Like, I have it on good authority that gear manufacturers do indeed send free gear to even modestly sized review channels. And they usually don't actually ask for it back, contrary to what many of these reviewers might say publicly. You know what I'm saying? And so, even with a modest channel, you can find yourself with a studio full of gear that you were probably never planning on buying. And in some cases, never even planning on using yourself. Now, when I buy a piece of gear for my studio that I'm gonna be doing work with, making records with, right? I don't just buy it because it looked cool or because I saw it at NAM or because a bunch of people who made records said it was great. I research, I listen, I look at end user reviews more than anything, right? And I feel like a lot of these YouTube reviewers are presenting themselves as end users for a lot of this gear, and that's not the case. That's not the case. Here's why I say that, right? A lot of times, a manufacturer will reach out to a reviewer and ask them if they'd like to do a review on the product, or sometimes just ask them if they like to do some reviews and just start sending them stuff, right? Now, sometimes that stuff ends up being stuff that that particular studio owner wished they had and just maybe couldn't afford at the time or couldn't justify the expense. And when they do a review on something like that, something that they already wanted, you know what I'm saying, and are going to now use the way they already planned on using it, then when they do a review on that, then it's worthwhile because they're actually using it the way an end user would, right? It was something they felt their workflow was missing before they had it. And they already had some idea as an engineer or as a music maker of some sort how they wanted to incorporate that product into their actual workflow. Versus when you just get a piece that the manufacturer just came out with and they thought you might like to review, but it's not something that you was checking for before they brought it to your attention. And that's what a lot of these reviewers kind of slide into as their channels grow, right? You'll There's a few that I've been watching for a while. And in the beginning, they're just reviewing the stuff that they use in their studio, stuff that they bought, stuff that they already knew they wanted or needed to use in their studio before they decided to make a review on it, right? Those are the most genuine ones. But after a while, you catch the attention of some of these manufacturers, and the manufacturers themselves start reaching out to you to review products that you weren't already checking for. And to get you to do that, and in the hopes that you'll say positive things, they just send it to you. You know what I'm saying? And they usually don't ask for it back. And I've even heard some stories about them asking for it back and the reviewer saying no, and I'm just not tripping. You know what I'm saying? That's real. Like all the smoke and mirrors, cameras and stuff, right? People can make you believe whatever they want you to believe, but if I'm solid state logic and I send you a big six and you weren't in the market for a big six, are you really gonna put it through its paces? Even if you really consciously want to, you're only using it within the bounds suggested to you by the manufacturer. You're focus grouping. You know what I'm saying? You're never gonna all buttons in that product. You're only gonna do the ratios that the manufacturer suggests, to use a little bit of a 1176 analogy. You feel me? And so me, somebody who is actually checking for that product, I'm not gonna get what I need from your review before you send that piece back because it was never a part of your workflow to begin with.